during this COVID-19 period, these challenges are exacerbated. So our strategies is to make sure, as Kunle rightly said before, we include them and we also include other groups that are in these dire situations to make sure that there is meaningful participation and inclusion. Thank you.
Thank you very much. You're welcome.
Let me add to the debate, the inequality debate. I think one of the options that we have is to increase our presence in the rural areas, because there is a rural-urban divide. If you look at the Gambia, this has also been exacerbated. Look at the rate of urbanization in the Gambia. Look at the rural economy and how it has changed so far. We used to be some of our colleagues, if you go out of the Gambia, they would say the Gambia is a groundnut economy. But groundnut is not doing as much as it used to do. So now I think we have to re-engineer our investments in the rural areas, work with local government authorities so that they invest more in issues that affect them the most. I don't think there is any other option. For me, I think it is really increasing our participation in rural areas so that the rural area become much more relevant and attract young people to stay, attract young people to work. Another area is, of course, unemployment. So one of the things that we do in UNCDF is to work with private sector, try to make them investment ready so that they increase their employment and attract much more young people in the green economy. So I think this is also another area where we would need to invest more to reduce inequality in the Gambia. Thank you.
Thank you very much there. I think we've exhausted our time for this question. So now I think we're going to have another performance, a musical performance. Ndai Our Bling. Are we ready to go on that one? Here she comes on stage. Ndai Our Bling.
Thank you so much for having me, guys. It's a pleasure being here. So I just want to send across a little message to my fellow artists. It is really important for us to start talking about things that are really affecting our society, especially when it comes to youths, women, and young children. Yeah. So I'm about to perform a song called Don't Rape. Don't tell me not to get raped. Don't tell me not to get raped. Not to get raped, not to get raped. Don't rape my nigga. Don't tell me not to get raped. Not to get raped, not to get raped. Don't rape my nigga. Sumay wajur amun wo jot ñung si liggéey rek bala ñoo ñëw ma nelaw buñ jógee hey dem. Suma wàcce school man ak oncle la fay des ndeke mébétam yépp mooy mu dugal ma si kees su fa kenn nekkut mu ne ma toog si kawam xam nga rek time xale jàppe ma ko woon dara mu door di ma làmbaatu bu ma demee ba mag la xam lu tax mu doon laaxaatu benn guddi si guddi mu dugal suma néeg mu di ma yekkataan ewu gis suma kaw la éeg ma tiit di jooy ne ko oncle jógal mu ne ma noppil du métti man dinaa def lu gaaw ma feebar si saa si du dox mel ni ku boy ma bugga call mère bi ndax suma xol la tooy mu ne ma boy ngang di dee ma jam la be nga seeda man fa laa lose hope gëm ne lii du ma ci génna wayo wayo ana ku may wallo wayo wayo ndaxte maa ngi toog waaroo wayo wayo wax leen ma man ku may wettale wayo wayo man de fan laa koy nettale waxoon na ko du amaat mu def ko yooni tool munut si woon dara lu dul toog di xool ba dem na munaatu ko beeta fum toog di xalaat yaramam yépp dem lu tax be moom du malaat. Don't tell me not to get raped or book a force. Don't tell me not to get raped. No means no. Don't tell me not to get raped or book ko forcé. Don't rape my nigga. Fala joge melni kutaga lek sagom yo ak papa miena boka yo linga def sadom waron nga rus diko lal bedi jel ndawam yo danko jay dole.
Now well, first, the lines are now open, the phone lines are now open so that people can call in and contribute to the discussions. Also that we will have the Vice President later on delivering her statement on this anniversary. Now we go on to the next question. Question number 4. How do you think that the UN's partnership with government can help improve support to the attainment of the Gambia's development goals? So,
I may start.
Yes, you may start. I'm the resident coordinator of the UN.
State the context and then colleagues will come in details as my role is at the strategic level. I'm not an operational. So I think I would say the partnership, when I said that when we are in a country, we work in partnership with the country. So to the extent that it's not something we are going to do, we are already doing and helping the country to deliver on the National Development Plan. So all the priorities we are saying here are taken from the priorities that the government has defined. And we also use the participatory approach, and that's what we keep saying, that even when we see what is in the National Development Plan, we need to go down to the communities and understand their needs, and then translate them in our strategies. And I believe that the 3 pillars I mentioned that we are covering are our contribution to the national development. And we are implementing with the support of the government. But I would say that, again, the UN is working in partnership with all stakeholders. And that's why we heard that we are bringing in private sector, because we believe, for example, to tackle the issue of unemployment, it's not the government who's going to recruit those young people with no job. We should be coming from private sector. And that's where the UN has a difference to show, to bring in all stakeholders to work together. It's also important to understand that the civil society has a key role to play in our strategy. Because if we want peace, for example, if we want to tackle inequalities, those are the people who understand better the context than us. We bring the expertise, but we want Gambians to really lift their lives because they know what they need. They know what we cannot know from the least village, where we actually see that sometimes services are not reaching. So our partnership with the government, yes, we follow the priorities of the government, but in the implementation, we listen to the Gambians, and we implement what Gambians need. And that's why you will see all the time we start by analysis. Today, we just come from a tour from the whole country in consultation on what we call the common analysis. We want to hear from the Gambians. And we are also projecting to say, and I'm happy to hear those who are performing, the poets and others, telling us what they feel as UN in 2045. And those are things we are going to use in our strategy, and that we hope that it will address the real needs of the Gambians.
Absolutely. Before I invite contributions, just don't forget the lines have opened for people to generally call in and contribute to the discussions. 5050-505, that's the number you can call. 5050-505. 505. So now the question open. Shamnam?
Thank you. If I may just compliment to what Seraphine just mentioned. So the engagement is a top-down and a bottom-up. So top-down is where you have the government as our partners, institutions, capacity development, and the bottom-up is where we have the people. I think the mantra that we often say, and you've heard that loud and clear, is leaving no one behind. And that's a specific strategy that addresses the development commitment we have, but also goes back to your earlier question on inequality, because that's how we want to bridge the gap, the inequitability of distribution.
I'm sorry, can you just hold on to that thought?
Sure.
We've got a caller on the line.
Absolutely.
Hello, caller.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening. What is your question?
Yeah. Hello, good evening, Mr. Bush.
Good evening. Please, your question. Time is of the essence here. Go on, caller. Okay, what's the question or comment?
Okay, I just want to make some contribution regarding the UNCDF contribution to the local authorities.
Okay, go on. What?
Because my name is, as I said, my name is Honorable Keba Jaro, the Councillor for Eastern Ward, Baralow, in North Bank region.
I'm not sure. Can you understand what the questioner is asking? Can you be clearer in what you say, please, so that we can understand the question and address it, or the comments and take it on board, please?
Okay, maybe it's because of the network, the bad network, but my name is Honorable Keba A.A. Jalo.
Keba Jalo?
Yes.
Okay, sir. So any questions or comments?
Yeah, I'm the Councillor for Bara, Eastern Ward. Okay, my comment is for UNCDF.
Yes. Go on. Let's one more attempt. Let's keep trying. We'll get it right. Go on, please.
Okay, I'm just getting more support from Raymond Jaffa, the officer in charge of the NCDF, to concentrate more on the councils, because we are not getting empowered from the central government.
I find it really difficult to get what he's saying. But it seems as if what, concentrate on the councils? Yes.
So let me, I think he's referring to the work that we are doing with the decentralized structures in the Gambia. UNCDF is currently implementing a program called Job Skills and Finance Program funded by the EU. And that allows us to work with councils, support them directly through fiscal decentralization. After meeting some minimum conditions, they develop an annual activity plan. And that plan needs to deal with decentralization, that plan needs to deal with climate change issues, climate change adaptation, because adaptation is ecosystem specific. It's at the local level. So once that is done, through the central bank, the Ministry of Finance instructs the central bank to transfer money directly to the World Development Committees. And that's what they implement. Last year, we were able to disburse close to $10 million. This year, we are almost close to disbursing $20 million to 20 wards in LRR, North Bank region, CRR North and South. And that's building their capacities, isn't it? It's also building the confidence level of government to be able to say, yes, we can trust decentralized structures, they have the absorptive capacity, and we can trust them to plan, implement, and report on their activities close to the rural levels. So that's what we are doing, and the councillors are involved, the National Assembly members are involved, the governors are also involved in this, and we are really happy with what we are seeing coming out in the Gambia. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think now you can go back to, I hope that answered the question for the gentleman there. I think we can take one more question, one more contribution. Do we have another caller? Yes. Okay, caller.
Yes.
Please introduce yourself. Who's the caller? What's your name? And
Hello,
what do you want to say?
Good evening.
Good evening.
Mr. Mboja and the team. I am Lamin Mane, a handicap. Good evening. I'm Lamin Mane, a handicap and a handicap right activist. Right activist.
Okay, what's your question or comment?
I am congratulating the UNDP. Hello?
Hello, yes, continue. We can hear you.
I'm congratulating the United Nations for 76 years of anniversary. 76 years of anniversary. And I sincerely thank UNDP for coming up with this kind of initiative, including persons with disabilities as well. My question is, there's a lady gentleman sitting down there. There's a lady sitting there with a blue shirt. With a blue shirt mentioning inclusiveness. That inclusiveness impressed me so much that I want to contribute to the program. And I need to bring money. This is about disability issues.
Let me get you here clearer. You mean there's a lady in a blue shirt sitting next to me? Yeah. What are you talking about there? What about that lady?
She's the human rights
person. Yes. Yeah. To her? Absolutely.
Question I must respond to?
Yeah, it's just a congratulations.
I think the caller is gone.
Okay.
Yes. Absolutely, and congratulated the body for the 75th anniversary. Yes, as we said, maybe we could take one more contribution also before we move on about the UN partnerships with the Gambia to help improve upon the development goals. Okay, yeah, of course.
No, I think I was just about to conclude on the thought that, you're coming to the partnership of it, but what I was saying is that the mantra of leaving no one behind is exactly not just a development goal for us, but it is also going back to your earlier question on inequality, because COVID has just exacerbated the inequality, as we can see. And I think this partnership of top-down and the bottom-up that UN engages is kind of response to some of the challenges that we face on the work we do. I think that's what I was about to conclude when. So it's up to you now. Over to you. Thank you.
Yes, I think we've got one more call. Thank you there. Caller. Hello. Hello, caller. Welcome to the program. Hello. No, there's nobody there. Let's go on. So we'll wait for another call. Yes, you want to come in?
Talk on the partnership issue.
Yes.
UN is just one of the players in the country. We have several partners who are working with government, bilaterals, private sector, the civil society organizations, and so on. So we have our own comparative advantage. UN comes with, particularly with the strategic key issues of development, and so we come with, what we are doing currently, for example, is we are doing what we call common country assessment, which the Seraphine mentioned, where we sit down with the Gambians, the governments, and other different sectors, and try to understand what are the critical issues of Gambia that needs to be addressed, and what can UN, with expertise it has, what can UN contribute in the next 5 years to come towards the development of the Gambia to a better future with the SDG in the vision. So this is what we are doing. So we actually, what we do is actually we identify issues of priority to the government that where UN can play a major contribution, and we identify those and try to support the government and complement what all others are doing in developing the Gambia. So we are just complementing the effort of government and other stakeholders in the Gambia.
Thank you very much. You may.
Partnership. I think to even come close to achieve the 17 Sustainable Development Goals, we have realized, and I think the entire world has realized, that it cannot be done in silos. No one country or one partner can do that.
Sorry, okay. Another caller. Fine. Oh, yes. Hello, caller.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening. Please introduce yourself, tell us your name and the question or the comment that you want to make.
Thank you very much. I am Tabunjai Sir from the CSO Gender Platform.
Okay. Yeah.
From the CSO Gender Platform. Just want to say congratulations to the UN system. And also to ask about their support since the draft constitution, which has progressive laws, has been out of the system now. Do they have any other support to give to the women who are actually supporting along the process to ensure that women's representation reach at least the UN required standard, which is 33%?
Thank you very much. Yes, there. For the women. What support for the women? Anybody? Yes? Jacob?
So do I answer the last one or this one first, or just go on? But I'll just be quick. I think that I had spoken earlier, and thank you very much for the question. It's very important, it's vital. I had spoken earlier in my intervention to say that we cannot exclude half of our population and think we will develop. If not even for the rights, it is for the capacities you're losing in your development process. So it just doesn't work. Like she rightly said, we're very happy with the draft constitution and the progressive clauses it had on women participation, including voting, political party nomination, and the representation at the National Assembly. Even though this wasn't even enough, as we believe, but we understand that countries must progressively, work towards achieving, equal representation of men and women in places. She had spoken about what's going to be done with the draft constitution. I think that's a national issue. I was reading in the newspapers yesterday. I think there is the understanding that cabinet is working towards some kind of, a way forward. Now she speaks about the support. I think the support had been ongoing, and I'll give an example. We're partners. It's not only UNFPA, the organization that I represent, but UNDP and other organizations. We've been working on 3 cardinal things. One, building the capacity of women for adequate representation. This was even before the constitutional development process, because even if the clause we not only seek representation, but the representation must be empowering, competent and adequate. And then, so there are ongoing projects through the UN Peace Building Fund that one supports women at all levels, decentralized level, to even participate at village development groups, community development groups, and to engage, with their male counterparts. There are many supports for women in political party processes, and there's just a lot. So rest assured that we will continue this, support. We will continue to work with you. We'll work with the CSOs working on women empowerment and women representation to ensure that women participation continues to be topical and is achieved in the Gambia.
So, thank you very much. We've got another caller on the line. Here, caller.
Hello, good evening.
Yes, good evening, caller. Please introduce yourself and.
I am Lamin Mane, a handicapped activist in the Gambia. And my contribution is, first of all, congratulate United Nations for 73 years of anniversary. And I thank initially, I thank the United Nations for supporting persons with disabilities office in the Gambia, which is the Gambia Federation. I'm very impressed about this next to you, Mr. Mboj, with a blue shirt, talking about inclusiveness. I support UNDP bringing persons with disabilities forefront of this initiative. But I'm still trying to see how best UNDP system can put a force on our government, our stakeholders, to see how best they can support the persons with disabilities in this country. Because as being a person with disability, I work with the first regime, the second regime, the third regime. But to my own observation and from my own perspective, Gambian disabled fraternities have been marginalized for so long. What can be done for them in order to uplift their situation, particularly during the COVID-19? It was so difficult and so hard for persons with disabilities to make a living. And we believe the national cake is there for all of us. And we are supposed to be treated as a dignified citizens of this country. And I really appreciate UNDP putting forefront of support to persons with disabilities. And I'm urging the UNDP system.
Caller, thank you very much. I think you've got your point there. Inclusivity in development programs. Of course, most marginalized groups, particularly the physically disabled, complain about that sort of thing all the time. So one wonders exactly who would take on that question? Very important. How do we support government, the UN system can support government to have inclusive programs, particularly catering to the disabled, which everybody knows that in this country they're not really, they don't have their fair share, if one can put it that way. I open the...
I will just introduce, but I know Yvonne is our focal point on those kind of programs. But I would say that the concept of leaving no one behind for us is the basic of our principle. And this is not something that we appreciate from Gambia. It's a globally oriented for the UN. We are here to look at those who are in the need. And you know that people living with disability are part of those groups. And it's also a complex group. The needs are complex because of the issues are different from one to another. So again, the approach is, and we have started, and I think that's why they are saying we congratulate you, because we are having different consultations with different groups, including people living with disabilities. So for us, the first thing is to understand their needs, the particular needs in the Gambia, because they are not the same. Because of maybe the fact that the limitations that the country has itself, even when you go to the school, you go to the health system, there are a lot of issues, even inequalities on people not living with disabilities. So when it comes to those who live with disabilities, it's again more difficult. And that's why we need to understand. And I will leave it to Yvonne to say what we are doing. Yvonne, please. Because she's our focal point on that.
Yes, Yvonne, you want to come in?
Thank you very much. It is very, very, very nice to hear the sentiments of the gentleman who just called in terms of appreciating our work with persons with disabilities. The UN is, as the resident coordinator just said, the UN is really focused on ensuring that we advocate for the inclusion and the participation of persons with disabilities in all the processes, as well as in the various responses that we have, and specifically in terms of COVID-19, so that they are also able to access whatever the responses are geared at achieving. Having said that, we have now engaged the Gambia Federation of the Disabled, which we understand is the umbrella federation for persons with disabilities.
I'm sorry, can I just, can we have, the Vice President is coming in, can we just please stand? And just for the Vice President to come in. Thank you very much. We can just sit. That's it. Now we've been joined by the Vice President, and she will deliver her statement on the 75th anniversary of the UN.
Good evening, everybody. Your Excellency, the UN Resident Coordinator, Honorable Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation on Gambians Abroad, Dr. Mamadou Tangara, members of the Diplomatic and Consular Corps, honorable members of the National Assembly, Mayor of KMC, senior government officials present, venerable religious leaders, our honorable guests, the media fraternity, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, good evening to all of you. Let me start by returning all grace to the Almighty Allah for according me the opportunity to preside over the commemoration of the 75th anniversary of the United Nations in the Gambia. On behalf of His Excellency, the President of the Republic of the Gambia, Mr. Adama Barrow, I welcome you all to this August 75th anniversary of the United Nations, which is held on October 24th yearly. During its 75 years of existence, the United Nations contributed significantly to global cooperation in building the future we want. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, this year's theme of the United Nations aims to build momentum of the day. The UN system in the Gambia has therefore organized a series of activities which includes the following: UN flag hosting event at the UN House, UN Day luncheon at the Heritage Restaurant, opening of the Kotu UN75 Park KMC at the KMC, a televised UN75 dialogue and cultural show at QTV. The UN was founded on 24th October 1945. The Gambia joined the UN 55 years ago on 21st September 1965. UN's foundation was given impetus by the devastation of World War II, which among other things saw the destruction of many lives. Today, UN member states, their people, and the UN's partners recognize that the UN family exists to serve the charter of the organization, and the purpose of the charter is to serve all peoples. One of the purposes of the United Nations, as stated in its charter, is to achieve international cooperation in solving international problems of an economic, social, cultural, or humanitarian character. The United Nations Country Team's partnership with the government of the Gambia is primarily guided by the United Nations Development Assistance Framework, UNDAF, instrument, the National Development Plan and Strategic Roadmap. The UN in the Gambia has been operating and jointly attaining development results for the people of the Gambia through the United Nations Development Assistance Framework. The UNDAF 2017 to 2021 is focused on three strategic results areas: A, governance, economic management, and human rights; human capital development; sustainable agriculture, natural resources, and environmental management. These, aligned to national priority goals, are aimed at contributing to the attainment of the Sustainable Development Goals, SDGs, and the National Development Plan, NDP 2018 to 2021. One of the fundamental roles of the UN is to accompany the country in its journey towards implementing the vision of His Excellency, the President of the Republic of the Gambia, Mr. Adama Barrow. The UN's assistance in this drive includes, but not limited to: A, supporting capacity strengthening of public institutions to deliver basic services to all people living in the Gambia; B, support to ensure the rights of children and women are recognized, promoted, and protected; C, support to ensure all Gambians have equitable access to healthcare services, both geographically and financially, etc., etc. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, with reference to the Sustainable Development Goals, also known as the Global Goals, were adopted by all United Nations member states, and the Gambia not an exception, in 2015 as a universal call to action to end poverty, protect the planet, and ensure that all people enjoy peace and prosperity by 2030. It must be recalled that the Gambia actively participated in the consultation process for the post-2015 development agenda, launched in September 2012, and was among 19 African countries selected for national consultations that were conducted between March and May 2013, facilitated by a national task force that included government, United Nations agencies, private sector, and civil society representatives. The consultation served as input into the development of the SDGs. The SDGs are being implemented through the current NDP and mainstream in sector strategies and plans. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, to measure the progress of implementation of the SDGs in the Gambia, a voluntary national review was presented at the 2020 United Nations UN High-Level Political Forum in July 2020. It represents the Gambia's progress report to its peers and other stakeholders at the global level on the implementation of the Agenda 2030. The VNR indicated progress on some of the SDGs, especially in the social services sector. Significant progress has been recorded with respect to access to education, water, and nutrition outcomes. Challenges were also registered in the VNR, emphasizing the need to accelerate implementation to attain the SDGs. The Gambia, like many other countries, continues to demonstrate its commitment to the implementation of Agenda 2030 by mainstreaming the Sustainable Development Goals into the National Development Plan 2018 to 2021, providing an opportunity to align and address its development priorities with SDG targets and indicators. The government continues to engage the private sector, civil society, and development partners in the implementation of the Agenda 2030. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, as part of the UN75 dialogue, UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres announced that the UN is hosting the largest global conversation on the role of global cooperation in building the future we want to mark the 75th anniversary in 2020. From August 2020, the UN system in the Gambia engaged its partners to conduct the global consultations that will elevate policy recommendations to achieve a sustainable future for 2045. The goal is to engage Gambians in all regions. Hence, the outcome of such interactions will be key recommendations from the local consultations to be provided to the United Nations and key decision makers within the public sector. COVID-19 coincides with a period where the Gambia is seeking to emerge from decades of neglect and limited investments in human capital, infrastructure, food and nutrition security, and other critical areas of development. The economy is fragile, and the population has limited access to health and social services. The United Nations system in the Gambia has been actively involved in supporting the national government's COVID-19 response since the declaration of the virus as a public health emergency of international concern. The UN, led by WHO, has supported the government in developing and implementing a country response plan in close collaboration with the Ministry of Health and the relevant stakeholders that responds to stated priorities by the government of the Gambia. Within respective mandates and comparative advantage, UN agencies are supporting the government to implement the National Response Plan, including the provision of direct support to the subcommittee of National Health Emergency Committee to improve effectiveness gaps of the subcommittee coordination. The broad aims of the response are to support the government of the Gambia to A, contain the spread of the COVID-19 pandemic and decrease morbidity, and B, respond to the socio-economic impact of COVID-19 and support recovery. 3 pillars of the response have been established to support the government in its fight against COVID-19 pandemic. These 3 pillars and other cross-cutting pillars, such as risk communication and community engagement, assist. A health system targeting recovery preparedness and strengthening, including built-in infrastructure, human resource transport and energy systems. B, identify actions to protect jobs, livelihoods, and safeguard SDG progress, including mapping and designing strategies for ensuring recovery and building back better. C, ensures availability of medical and non-medical products, including support to government on food distribution and education safe school framework. Support training and capacity building activities to strengthen communication and community engagement, among others. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I am happy to note that all the World Health Organization and Ministry of Health guidelines on COVID-19 are strictly being observed in this auspicious event. I can see everybody in mask, except we want to talk, and in the afternoon also it was the same thing, and that is all we need. We're going to live long with COVID. If we respect the regulations and abide by those, we are definitely going to combat the pandemic. At this point, I wish to applaud the great contributions of the United Nations towards the socio-economic development of this country. My appreciation also goes to all the UN agencies in the Gambia. I salute the resilience of the people of the Gambia, and I have the fervent belief that aspirations and expectations of our people for the United Nations will be met. In conclusion, I wish and pray for a peaceful celebration of this historic day. Once more, on behalf of His Excellency, the President of the Republic of the Gambia, Mr. Adama Barrow, the government and people of the Gambia, I wish to put on record our sincere appreciation of the unique nature of this year's celebration by the United Nations, especially the opening of the Kotu UN75 Park within KMC, a spectacular venue for engaging our youth and other age groups of our society. I also wish to assure the UN system in the Gambia that the government of the Republic of the Gambia will continue to provide the conducive and enabling environment for all our development partners in the Gambia. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, thanks very much for your kind attention. I wish you a happy celebration, and may the Lord reward the founding fathers of the UN. Thank you very much.
That was the Vice President of the Gambia, Dr. Aïssata Touré, delivering the congratulatory statement on the 75th anniversary of the UN. She was delivering the statement on behalf of government, congratulating the UN on its 75th anniversary. And now we go into the cake cutting. Please, shall you go and cut the cake? Now the anniversary cake.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. And happy 75th anniversary to all Gambians and partners. This day is for everybody. And that's why we started by saying the UN is about the peoples. So we celebrate together, and we are happy to see that the partnership we are building here in the Gambia is successful. And we are committed to continue delivering for the people we are here to serve. So thank you and happy celebrations.
Thank you.
Done. Yeah, I think she can.
that's it. So now on TV, we will have the next performers, the dance troupe performance there on the stage.
Hey! Yo sama gaay ba women wul la woy di ngeen nungu. Hey no wow wow. Wow wow ñun dina nungu. Hey! Yo sama gaay li lu koy fay. Xalal li lu koy fay. Yo sama gaay li lu koy fay. Yo waxal yow li lu koy fay. Hey! Sama yaaya ngi. Yo fay président yóbbul la gisee foo jaar ñu wax loolu ca kaw. Yaay suñu yaay. Xolal lu la yàlla may gërëm ci sa ndey bañ du ko dindi lu la yàlla may. Hey xolal yaa jàppale Adama Barrow yaa ko jàppale yaa ko bëgg ba mu jeex tàkk loolu dinañ ko wax xolal waaye UN boo leen ñu wooyee ñun danañ nungu waaw 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 ñun danañ nungu lii lu koy fay kaay leen ñu lëmbal. Hey yow kaay ñu lëmbal waa ana mic bi lay dara cey yaa suñu yaay ñun dinañ ko wax waaye happy birthday to you happy birthday to you happy birthday to you UN happy birthday to you cey li waxal loolu. Hey bés bu dellu si moo neex bés bu dellu si moo neex bés bu dellu si moo neex UN happy birthday to you waxal loolu. Hey yow suñu yaay ay satun man dinaa la way yaay bu ma tey yaay nii la koy defe yaay bu ma tey yaay nii la koy defe yaa jàppale Adama Barrow ba mu jeex tàkk yaay suñu yaay ñun dañ nan ko wax cey lii. Hey tàggu ko sa gundu wura sa xul tàggu ko sa gundu wura sa xul gundu tàggu ko sa gundu wura sa xul tàggu ko sa gundu wura sa xul gundu. Your ambiance, virtual ambiance, your ambiance, virtual ambiance, your ambiance. Woy, 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 woy. Tàggu ko sa gundu wura sa xul gundu tàggu ko sa gundu wura sa xul gundu tàggu ko sa gundu wura sa xul gundu tàggu ko sa gundu. Your ambiance, virtual ambiance, your ambiance, virtual ambiance. Woy, 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 woy. Tàggu ko sa gundu wura sa xul tàggu ko sa gundu wura sa xul gundu tàggu ko sa gundu wura sa xul gundu tàggu ko sa gundu wura sa xul gundu. waa yéen a baax waa UN a ngi yéen di naan la way yow adasatu yow suñu yaay ajaratu Aysatu ñun di naan ko way yaay suñu yaay tàggu ko sa gundu wura sa xul tàggu ko sa gundu. Your ambiance, virtual ambiance, your ambiance, virtual ambiance, your ambiance. Woy, 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 woy. Tas mbax wura tega cër waa ndeysaan lii du mën a ñàkk. kontaan nañ ci yéen kontaan nañ ci président Adama Barrow barke Yonent bi yàlla na jàmm yàgg Gambia jaare ngeen jëf.
All the heads of the different agencies within the UN, and they all gave us the what they're doing, what the agencies are doing, and the significance of the UN, and the highlights of all the achievements and what next for the future. So finally, would we give the final word to Serafin Makana, the resident coordinator of the UN. We've already heard from the Vice President, who has already given the government's congratulatory message to the UN. So now perhaps the final word.
Yeah, my final word is to really thank the government and the people of the Gambia for the good partnership we have here in the Gambia. The presence of the Vice President tonight, coming to Q City like around 7 in the evening, and she was with us in the morning. It's a proof that we are here together and we are working in partnership. And we really appreciate your support, and we wish that you extend our appreciation to His Excellency, the President of the Republic, who could not make it. And then we have our sister here coming. It's a pleasure for us, it's an honor to be here today to celebrate our 75th anniversary. Again, coming back to say that it's not our celebration, it's your celebration. It's the celebration of everybody, celebration for the Gambians. And we want to say that, again, as the Vice President said, it's a particular celebration. This year, we used to celebrate every 24th of October. But this year is marking the 55 years, meaning that we are stepping to see how far we came and what are our achievements today, and to then decide on the way forward. And all the performances you saw is part of the consultations we did, and we are going to use them to design our future, the future of the Gambia, the future that the Gambians want. And again, as we mentioned, when we talk about the future, we are not saying what the UN is going to do, but it's what we are going to do with everybody in partnership. The UN is not a big donor, but we have our particularity, and if I can say, the advantage that we have is that we have a broad expertise from different agencies that we can use to support capacity building and building strong institutions. And we are here to create the environment for others then to come and invest. And that's the particularity of the UN. And that's why you see us when we talk about the supporting the transition. It means that we want to create a good environment for others so that they can be efficient and deliver for the population. And we are happy that we are doing that in partnership with different partners, including the civil society, the private sector, bilaterals, and other multilateral institutions present in the Gambia, and also those willing to come. We have also a strong advantage of advocacy. So we advocate for the Gambia, and when we understand better the needs of the Gambians, we can then advocate more for this. So with this, I would say thank you for also hosting HQ TV. You are also a great partner to us. And you know that the media is important for development, and your voice can make difference. So thank you, and thank you to all Gambians. Thanks to those the callers who have been sending their questions. It's also important to understand that they were focusing on inclusion, and that's where we have also our value added, and we are going to do more on that. And we can assure everybody that we are here to serve the Gambians. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and thank you to our viewers. We've come to the very end for joining us on this special event of marking the UN 75th anniversary since the signing of its charter. So, thank you. Until next time, goodbye.